before breaking for August recess, they did not act on extending the eviction moratorium. This to myself and to Representative Cori Bush, as well as Representatives Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Mondaire Jones, Jimmy Gomez, and many other representatives in the US Congress, was utterly unacceptable. And so this is kind of the middle school stuff sometimes that we see in Congress. There are some people, very likely, there's probably very likely overlap with those 10 conservative Democrats that I was telling you about earlier, and the folks that did not want to extend the national eviction moratorium. But essentially what we know is that there were folks that would have rather have left town than actually cast a vote on whether we should extend the national eviction moratorium. So instead of voting to extend it, and I don't mean voting yes or no, but just voting at all, they didn't want to cast their vote. They decided to leave town. And so myself and some of the other representatives that I mentioned earlier said that is completely unacceptable, and we helped lead a protest on the steps of the Capitol. Myself and Cori Bush and many others slept on the steps of the Capitol for several days, and in order to create the political pressure necessary to prompt the Biden administration to extend the moratorium. And we were successful. And I want to thank many of our constituents, because there was actually a decent amount of constituents that hopped on buses that we provided from here in our district down to Washington, D.C. to also lend their support. And we were successful. And so what we did and what those actions resulted in was eviction protections for 11 million Americans for the month of August. Now, what happened last night was that the Supreme Court overturned the moratorium, and they ended the federal moratorium and said that it could not continue. Now, some people would say, see, there you go, we told you so. But to those folks who say that it was not worth it, I say that protecting 11 million people, even if it's for the month of August, is worth it. Now, the question is, what do we do now? Now the Supreme Court has overturned the moratorium, we need to do two things. One, we need to make sure that we push and advocate for New York's moratorium to be reinstated and extended, and to extend that and try to figure out what we can do to protect renters statewide. Secondly, we must also pressure Congress once again to take that vote. The reason that the Supreme Court is overturning this moratorium, and even when they warned the first time that they might, is because members of Congress do not want to cast this vote. And we have to say, listen, we must cast this vote. And here is why. In the